Hey everyone, so today we're just going to do a review of the 3 different ways of solving quadratics. So I want you to do the number 1 and 2 the do now by factoring, not quadratic formula, not completing the square. I want you to factor. Alright, so number 2, let's see. I'm going to factor it in my head. So 2x, x. So it's going to be 3 and 3. I need negative 6. Plus 3 gives me negative 3. So then 2x plus 3 equals 0. X minus 3 equals 0. So x equals 3. And x equals negative 3 over 2. Now if you did it the other way, remember we're multiplying to negative 18, combining to negative 3. We take our a and our c and we multiply them. That's 3 times 6 with the 6 negative. Then we do 2x, 2x, and then we put in the plus 3 minus 6, and then divide by a GCF if we see one. And so that's how you could do it using the slide method. All right, number 2 is a little different. So notice there's a 3 in front, but there's a GCF of 3. So I'm going to divide everything by 3. Minus 2x minus 3. So this is just a basic factoring problem. X and x, we're multiplying to negative 3, combining to negative 2. Only thing that multiplies to 3 is 3 and 1. I need it to be negative 3 plus 1. So then x plus 1 equals 0. X is negative 1. X minus 3 is 0. X equals 3. Use the quadratic formula. Okay, so pause the video and do these 2 problems. So I have my a, my b, and my c. So negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So x equals negative 7 plus or minus 10. So let's see, that's 49, here's my calculator, 49 minus 6 plus 60, right? 49 minus 4 times 5 times negative 3, 109. So that's the square root of 109. Now, does that have a perfect square that goes into it? That is the question. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. I checked, so that means that's my answer. All right, second one, we need 0 on one side. So now I'm going to add my 3x squared and subtract 11x on both sides because I personally prefer my a term, this to be a positive 3x squared. I just think it's easier. Minus 10x plus 5. All right, so then negative b, so that's 10 plus or minus the square root, negative 10 squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That's 10 plus or minus, it's 100 minus 60. I'm pretty sure that's going to be 40. Yep. Square root of 40 all over 6. Now I can simplify 40. 40 is 4 times 10. So that's 2 root 10. So 10 plus or minus 2 root 10 all over 6. Now on the quiz I do expect you to simplify. So I'm going to divide everything by 2. So x equals 5 plus or minus root 10 all over 3. That's it. Okay, so I want you to look at each of these and decide which method do you think is best. Now, you could just do quadratic formula on every problem forever, but that's not necessarily the smartest method, like if it's easily factored, for instance. So I want you to go through each of these, take a look at them. What do you think the best method would be? So pause the video and do that if you haven't. Number 3 and 4, I would definitely factor. Right? These are actually not number 3. Number 3 looks factorable. It's not. Number 4 is factorable. Let me change that to red. Factor. Number 3, I would complete the square because the middle term is even. Number 5, 3x squared minus 3x plus 1. That is not factorable. So that's quadratic formula, QF. This one, divide by 2. That's factorable, so I would factor it. And then this one I would just do square root. It's technically completing the square, but I would just do square roots. Alright, so now that we've identified what to do, do it. So pause the video, go through and solve all of them. Alright, so if you try to factor this one, number 3, it looks like it's factorable, it's not. If you switch the 8 and the 7. So I'm going to complete the square because I think that's the easiest method. So half of 8 is 4. I have to subtract 16, subtract 7 equals 0. X minus 4 squared equals 23. So x equals 4 plus or minus root 23. Number 5, if you divide everything by 5, you get x squared minus 16 equals 0. That's an easy factorable problem. So x is negative 4 and x is 4. This one was our 3x squared minus 3x plus 1 equals 0. This is not factorable, and since the numbers that you have an a term, I would do the quadratic formula. So 3 plus or minus the square root, negative 3 squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So x equals 3 plus or minus all over 6. It's going to be a negative. 9 minus 12 is negative 3. It's a 6. So that is no real solutions. And you can't do anything to that. That's a 6 on the bottom. I know it's hard to read. This one I divided by 2 and got x squared minus 3x plus 2. That's a nice factorable problem. X minus 1, x minus 2 equals 0. So x equals 1, x equals 2. In the last one, it's technically completing the square. I think of it just as square roots. So I divide both sides by 49. And then I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So x equals plus or minus square root of 81 is 9. Square root of 49 is 7. That's it. Okay, last one. Write the equation with solution. So pause the video, try this on your own. So remember with these, we're going backwards. So if x equals 7, that came from x minus 7 equaling 0, x plus 1 equaling 0. Before that, they were multiplying because of that 0 property. And then we have to multiply it out, right? If you multiply that out, FOIL x squared, plus x minus 7x minus 7. So the answer is x squared minus 6x minus 7 equals 0. So it's the reverse of solving by factoring. Versus number 9, which is the reverse of completing the square. It's technically both completing the square and quadratic formula, but I personally would not want to go back and forth backwards from the quadratic formula. Like, I'm not trying to figure out where that 11 came from. That's terrifying. So we're going to do completing the square backwards. So I'm going to add 4, right? Because remember we need a 0 at some point. And then that square root came from taking the square root of both sides. Opposite of square rooting both sides is squaring both sides. 11 equals x plus 4 squared. That's our x squared plus 8x plus 16. If we FOIL that out, bring the 11 over. X squared plus 8x plus 5. And that is our answer. All right, so for homework, you are doing review. I want you to do K8 through K11. So that's K8, K9, K10, K11. I want you to do 20 minutes each or hit a 90. So that's 80 minutes total. So I'm going to check for your 80 minutes. So that's an hour and 20 minutes total. 20 minutes for each of them or hit a 90 for your SMART score. Okay? If you have any issues, let me know.